Hello my friends and welcome back. Over the last couple of months in particular, a lot of comments, questions and just general chat with people has been that for our demographic there were a lot of people who had sort of thought that maybe 2020 was the year that they would think about downsizing, start to get that process underway. And then of course everything else happened, and while we wait to get back to normal, whatever that means, I thought, I've got 5 questions that might help people who are sort of stuck a little bit, or maybe you've done it and you're not sure about why it isn't working for you. So I thought these ones might help. Now, to be fair, I have to tell you, I have filmed this video twice before. Now, the first time I ended up with a corrupt memory card. That was great. It was a really good video, by the way, because I'm weighing half of this. I thought, oh, it was really good. Pity it wasn't actually recording, or I couldn't access it. And the second time I went through, yep, did it. It was all good. And then when I went to edit, I realised that I had the door open to the balcony and to the neighbourhood effectively, and in the background was the sound of a concrete drill. And no matter what I did, and how much I played with the sound, I couldn't get rid of that noise. And if it annoyed me when I was editing it, it was going to annoy the living heck out of you guys. So that one went down as well. So here I am, third time lucky, and hopefully we'll get to the end of this without too many disruptions. So let's talk about what downsizing is and isn't to start with. I'm not talking about that wonderful trend of sort of 30s and 40-year-olds embracing minimalism and getting rid of lots and lots of belongings and moving to smaller and tiny houses. That's something that's completely different. The other thing that downsizing isn't, although obviously it includes it, is decluttering. Because if you've got a messy house and you're just a bit overwhelmed and you really want to pare back a bit and do the whole does this bring joy, etc. to your home, that's fabulous also, and that's decluttering. Now obviously yes, you do that when you're downsizing, but downsizing for me and our demographic means that change from a family home and everything that means into a smaller footprint, maybe in a different location, etc. So that's what I'm talking about today. The first question I'll ask is, are you ready to get rid of 1/2 to 2/3 of your belongings? This is really difficult. Now don't panic, I'm not saying do it all in one day. I took probably 3 rounds of decluttering, I'll call it decluttering for want of a better word, 3 rounds of decluttering to get into the apartment. And then when I unpacked and sort of settled myself in here, that was round 4, and a whole lot of other things went out. And there have probably been rounds 5 and 6 at least since I've been here. Now, so you're not doing it all at once. And you can, depending on your time, what your time limit or whatever is that you've set yourself, you can go about this in a fairly sort of measured way. And my tip to help you with this, and to be honest with all of the rest of these questions, is that if you are ready to choose this, we have what we call in psychology agency. And it means that even if your choices aren't fabulous, even if they're not, oh, shall I move into this glorious condo, or shall I move to the beach or the mountains or whatever, maybe it's just I'll move into a small house in a less expensive neighbourhood. The fact that you are making this choice gives you this thing called agency. And people who have had that choice, who have made it for themselves, are much happier overall than people who have somebody tell them, oh no, it's time you did this and this is where you're going. So I would encourage you to sort of think about this and realise that if you are making that step, if you're saying, hey, I'm ready for this, and that entails getting rid of things that, hey, I'm going to love. Some things that are going, you love. But you have to say, thank you for being my belongings, and I love you and I let you go. Because I want something else more than I want all of those things. Now, number 2 relates to number 1, because this is the point where you have to decide if you, and this is really individual, if you are ready to let go of at least some of the things in your life that genuinely do spark joy. And I think in some ways this is the absolute crux of downsizing, that if we can come to terms with this, that it makes the whole process easier. Now, please, I'm not saying you have to do anything. I'm asking the question, are you ready? Because you simply you are unlikely in a downsized home to have space for all of the things that you loved in your bigger home. Please, to the lady out there who got cross because she thought I was saying in another video that she should get rid of her wedding dress, I'm not. I'm saying that if you keep your wedding dress, make sure that you take it out, that you keep it fluffed and clean, and don't let the moths eat it, and perhaps you find a way to at least display it. Maybe, you know, a little bit, not display, you know what I mean. Take it out, look at it, love it, pop it back, make sure it's clean and fresh and nothing nasty is eating it, there's no mold, it's nice and dry. Whatever you do, I would say, with these things, that as you reduce them down, and you will be able to, you can say, well, do I need to actually own the thing, or can I take a photo of it? Can I give it to somebody who would love it? Now, this is difficult because these are the things that are layered with our memories, and other people don't have that value on it. So if you give something away or sell something, but particularly if you give something away to friends or family, you can't expect them to have the layers of memory associated with it that you have. And so they may say that they don't want it, and if they do take it, they may be taking it basically to do you a favour, and then give it away or sell it or not use it in a way that you don't think is appropriate. Anything like that, you have to accept those things, that we layer memory. We humans, perfectly human, absolutely normal thing to do, we layer memory into things. Now, throughout a home, there will be things that have virtually no memory and you can just let them go, and there will be things that have deep memories layered with them, and those will be much more difficult. And in this category, I would also put the things, not just the things that spark joy, but the things that spark stress and make you feel somewhat guilty, or whatever it is the right word for that. And you know what I mean. For anybody who's a crafter, it's all of those craft things. It's the quilting that we used to do, and then we bought enough fabric to quilt, you know, enough quilts for about 10 families. Those sorts of things. For me, I still have wool. I knitted up jumpers and gave them away, sweaters for those of you in the US, and gave away quite a few last year when we were in lockdown here in Melbourne. That was one of the things I did. I just knitted. I sat and watched Netflix and knitted little warm garments for small children, and then donated them. And I hope they went to keep a child warm because it was a chilly winter. And those sorts of things, I felt better once I had turned that stockpile I had of wool into something of value that I could then give away. So watch out for those spark stress as well. So those are the sorts of things that fit into number 2. Are you ready to let some of those items go and accept that you've layered your memories into them, but the items themselves are not the memories. The memories come from inside you, and if you have a photograph of them, or you know that they've gone on to be loved by somebody else or to be useful to someone else, then it certainly helps. Other than that, the only thing I'd say is that by the time you've gone round a few times with the decluttering process, you would be amazed how you can let go of more and more things. You're not feeling as attached. And while you know that I'm not a great fan of storage units, because so many are just full of stuff and people put their things in there because they are delaying that decision making about these items, and they don't want them in their homes, but they can't fit them in their homes and they can't use them, you know, on a daily basis, and so you put them into storage, and then the door rolls down and the lock goes on and the direct debit or whatever comes out of your account every month, and it goes on like that. And for some people it goes on like that for years, God forbid decades. I know it does happen, and things deteriorate and they become pretty damaged by being in storage. Even climate controlled great storage is not particularly good. So I just say try to avoid that. If you do have to do it for a short time. Write it in your calendar in 5 or 6 months, or 12 if you're really pushing it, that you will have cancelled that you will have found a way to empty it. You will have either invited things back into your home and let other things go, or you will sort of accepted that these things, the memories related to them, are actually part of you and not part of the item. Number 3, are you a tidy and organised person? Are you ready to become a tidy and organised person? Because when you go into a smaller home, even the smallest amount of sort of untidiness or clutter around the place seems to absorb space. And while when you were in your larger home with more volume of space, things didn't seem as though they were cluttered. I mean, the same arrangement on a coffee table would have looked perfectly lovely in your big home with space around it, but suddenly having that same thing translated into a smaller space just seems overwhelming and seems to absorb some of the very precious space that you have in your smaller home. And the other thing about it is to be organised, because you will almost certainly have a lot less storage space, and the best way to use your reduced storage space to its best ability is to be really organised. Now, you do also have to give up some things like bulk buying from Costco. You really, and in the spirit of the last year, you really don't need to have 12 months of toilet paper on hand. Really, and you won't have the space for it. It's unlikely you'll have the space to store that. So those sorts of things, because you will have gone from lots of storage, or certainly areas that you could fill up, like your garage, and leave your car out on the driveway. These sorts of things, which we got away with in the big homes, we can't get away with in smaller ones. You have to be more organised, or I found I need to be more organised to keep my sanity. Stay organised, stay tidy, and your smaller home won't feel too much smaller. Number 4, how much do you love being able to host guests and have those big family dinner parties or friends over for a wonderful afternoon in the backyard with the long table and in the summer? And those things maybe you won't be able to do, because for most of us in downsized homes it means that at best we'll have a single room we can use for guests and multi-purpose as an office or whatever, but certainly not for a family of mum and dad and the 3 kids. That would be impossible here, and in that case the classic Airbnb or the short stay places, they become your best friend, and knowing the ones that are around you and using them and finding out which are really top-notch and beautifully clean and fresh and easy to access, those are your best friend once you've downsized. And the same goes for the meals, the parties, the things that you traditionally did at your place. Well, maybe it's time you handed them on to other family members, along with the platters that go with them. I think actually all my big turkey platters have gone. I think they've gone now. You can say, hey, my time for doing this is over. I did it for all these years and now it's your turn. And that's one of the ways that you can do it. Or you can say, we'll go to the beach and have a family gathering there and play beach cricket and swim and enjoy the summer days, or rug up and go to a park in the winter if it's not actually raining, or hire a venue. And the other way is, of course, restaurants, so that those birthdays that you would normally have at home, you can have out in a restaurant, and it's lovely. It makes for a beautiful gathering. There's all that buzz. You can choose what you like to eat. All of those. There are upsides to this as well, but there is that downside of downsizing, that you really won't have the space to do perhaps the really big parties. I used to think nothing of having 20-30 people for Christmas Day. Nothing to it. I can do this. Can't do that now. Just a bit small. If you're enjoying this, I've got one more to go, but if you're enjoying these sorts of videos, give me a thumbs up, because it lets me know how I can best serve you guys, because that's what I'm here for, and also lets YouTube know and the algorithm know that these are the sorts of things that you like to watch. And while you're there, don't forget, subscribe and hit that notification bell, just because so many of you that watch my videos, and I'm sure watch me reasonably frequently, are not subscribed. And I'd love to have you on board. We're a really nice group of people. Everybody's lovely. So feel free to come on in, join up, and just be part of the group. So number 5 is, do you see your downsizing, either the one you've just done or the one you're thinking of doing, as a freedom or as a restriction? This is huge, because if you see it as something that you go into freely, with joy, with optimism, that you're looking forward to something that you've planned carefully, you can afford it, that it's going to give you the life in a place that you love, and there will be lots of benefits for you in it, then you're ready to give away some of the things that go with being in the family home. However, if you see it as a restriction, and it makes you feel sad and depressed a little perhaps, and maybe even angry if you're being pressured into doing this by other people, then that is not a good recipe for your downsize. Even if you don't really want to do it, if you can open up your heart to see that there will be benefits for you that you can enjoy and look forward to, then it is so much easier to release the family home. That feeling of agency, that you see it as a freedom, it's something you're choosing, you're making these decisions and you're okay with them, then you are much more likely to turn around in a couple of years' time and look back and go, wow, that was a great thing to do. I loved downsizing, it's been successful, I've got a great life. The success of this big change depends on how you go into it. Now these questions, I hope that they have been of use to you. Maybe if you're not enjoying your downsize and you've already done it, maybe going over these and sort of seeing what went wrong and being able to investigate it a wee bit, and think it through a little will make you feel better, or perhaps it'll convince you that you need to roll things back a little if you're able to do that. Anyway, that's my bit. There hasn't been any noise. I have managed to get through this. There is nobody drilling over the back fence. And it's done. So I hope that that was useful for you in some way, and that wherever you are, that you're keeping safe and well, and in whatever way you can these days, that you're having a really lovely week. And I'll see you soon. Bye.